This is Delaina from Northern Japan, bringing you this week's lesson for the Coursera Introduction to Music Production class. Today we're going to be talking about channels, specifically within an analog mixer. At the top of my analog mixing board, there are a number of inputs, but let's focus on the first channel strip, which offers at the very top a spot for an insert. Then for an XLR cable, and below that, a space for a 1/4-inch cable. Then we have the gain input knob for the channel. Just like with the audio interface, whenever you are trying to raise your levels, you just bring it up to the appropriate level. Let's take a look at the EQ settings. This mixer offers 4 EQ knobs, one for high, 2 mids, and a low. These offer a way to balance the timbre of the sound pre-fader. This simply means that whatever level we set these at, the overall sound and timbre will not be affected by how high or low the fader is set. You can see mine are set with the high and low almost dead center, line pointing straight up, while the 2 mid EQs are set lower. These settings are from my vocal channel and are left over from my last live performance. The overall mix generally does better when my vocal mid EQs are cut, as so many other instruments live right in this range. The EQ section are 2 knobs labeled Effects Send 1 and Send 2. There is a built-in reverb effect in this mixer which can be sent to either of these knobs, as well as other third-party effects if so desired. Again, effects are further down in the signal flow chain than the EQ settings, as you want to get a good balance in the natural sound before adding on things like reverb, delay, etc. If these were reversed in the signal flow, and you set, say, a large reverb on your track, and then messed with the EQ after it, you would probably notice a much larger difference in the way the sound is affected. This really isn't an issue in an analog mixer like this, but I think in some DAWs, you can make unorthodox signal flow if you really want to, or aren't careful. The last knob is the pan, which sends the input from this channel to the left and right speakers respectively, and controls the balance between the two. This can be so useful in mixing when you want to make the sound more three-dimensional, and, for example, have it sound like the guitar player is sitting off to the left or right. Just pan the signal to a desired percentage in either direction. Also with drum mixes, you may want to have the kick drum front and center, and the hi-hat over to the left a bit, while the tams might sound good coming from more to the right. So many wonderful options. If everything is set dead center, the sounds can be quite muddled. Lastly, we have the ever-important fader, which will set the overall level of the sound for the track in question. My live mix is quite simple, as I only use 2 channels, one with a pre-mixed backing track, and the other with my vocals. Even so, getting the balance between the background music and my vocals can be tricky at times, as the sweet spot on this rather old mixer is very touchy, and I have a notoriously quiet voice. I suppose I could lower the background music even more, keep my vocals at a decent level on the fader, and raise the overall master mix more. Something to try in the future. If you enjoyed this short tutorial on channel flow, and that it can help demystify the mixer just a little bit. See you next week.